Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we begin the news hour with a picture from 25th September 1990. This is the day when BJP's L.K. Advani, senior most leader, began the Rath Yatra from Somnath. In this chariot adorned with flowers, he is flanked by Narendra Modi, who played the role of his charioteer, organizer of the Rath Yatra during the 1990s in Gujarat. It took 29 more years of legal battles and reconciliation for the dream of Ram Mandir to be realized. 30 years later, Narendra Modi returned to perform Bhumi Pujan in 2020 and called Ram a unifying force. And 2 years after that, in 2022, Prime Minister Modi returned to inspect the construction of the Bhavya Ram Mandir, and yesterday he confirmed that he will return to Ayodhya for the Pran Pratishtha after he was invited by the Temple Trust. This was after he received this invitation from the Ram Janmabhoomi Trust, and it has been a journey of 33 years, no less, since Prime Minister Modi first participated in the Rath Yatra, organized the Rath Yatra, and in one way or the other was the Karta Dharta. But today, the opposition says it's not Astha, but greed for votes in 2024 elections that draws the Prime Minister to Ram. Since 1990, he has been part of the Ram Mandir movement, but the Vipaksh says that for the Prime Minister, Lord Ram is just a political tool for 2024. While some accuse him of usurping Lord Ram, others go to the extent of saying that Ram is a myth. Watch how a historic time when Ram Lalla is set to return to his birthplace after 600 years, the opposition is injecting politics into the entire narrative.
So they want to replace history with mythology. That is what the BJP is trying to do. BJP does not consider Ram as an important thing, but their political gain becomes important, so they are making use of Ram for their political gains.
खून बहाया लोगों ने, जेल में गए, मुकदमे चल रहे हैं अभी भी सभी लोगों पर. तो मोदी जी आप जाएंगे और राम मंदिर की पूजा करेंगे, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि चुनाव आ रहे हैं, ये चुनाव की तैयारी.
Now he wants to take the credit. It's not the court of law is sidelined. It's not the those people who did this Karsheva, they are sidelined. The whole country and history is being sidelined.
देखिए, ये तो ऐसे ही राम मंदिर की बात कर रहे हैं जैसे ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का मंदिर हुए. राम मंदिर हमारे देश का मंदिर है.
क्या ये पार्टी का प्रोग्राम है और एक ही व्यक्ति विशेष का ही प्रोग्राम है? तो ये मेरी तो समझ में नहीं आता. भगवान तो सबके हैं ना.
The BJP has, however, hit out at the opposition for failing to understand Astha of Hindus. In fact, on the News Hour Fact Check, let's remind you of how Sanatan has often been used as a punching bag by the so-called secular ecosystem. In 2007, UPA deposed before the Supreme Court, saying there is no proof of Ram's existence. After facing a backlash, they were forced to withdraw the affidavit to re-examine it in the Supreme Court. After the Supreme Court verdict, Asaduddin Owaisi said, Supreme Court is supreme but not infallible. This is a victory of faith over facts. Congress Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor went to the extent of saying no good Hindu wants a temple by destroying a mosque. When Prime Minister went for the Bhumi Pujan of the Ram Mandir, Sharad Pawar said construction of Mandir won't end Corona. Jai Shri Ram was called a provocative war cry by 49 celebs in a letter to Prime Minister Modi, and of course, Samajwadi Party's Swami Prasad Maurya said Ramcharitmanas is regressive and orthodox. It abuses Dalits. Ironically, this is the same opposition which has opposed the presence of Prime Minister Modi during the inauguration. However, the main litigant in the Ayodhya land dispute case, Iqbal Ansari, welcomes the Prime Minister with open arms. He took over from his father to fight the legal battle against the Mandir, but today says that the Prime Minister should be given a grand welcome. Listen in.
हमारा भी मानना है कि प्रधानमंत्री जो अयोध्या में और प्राण प्रतिष्ठा की जो है जो पूजा जो हो रही है, जो मूर्तियां स्थापित होने जा रही हैं, उसका वो काम उनके हाथों से होना चाहिए। और जो है जितने भी पंडित हैं यहाँ, उनका एक सौभाग्य है कम से कम जो है प्रधानमंत्री के सामने लोग अपना पूजा पाठ करें और सबको जो है एक पुण्य जो है पहुंचावें। हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, वो तो स्वागत योग्य हैं। हम तो हमेशा चाहते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी आवे, हम उनको फूल माला पहनावें।
So, ladies and gentlemen, the legitimate question we are asking on the Newshour tonight: why is there Rajniti over Ram Mandir? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the Newshour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight on the debate, Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, supports the Congress party; Vivek Srivastav, political analyst; Danish Qureshi, spokesperson of the AIMIM; Suhail Seth, columnist, marketing guru; Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate. But my first question goes to Nalin Kohli, national spokesperson of the BJP. Nalin Kohli, the question today to you from the opposition is simply this: that you're going to use Ram Mandir construction, inauguration, the Pran Pratishtha to the hilt for the elections of 2024. It's the biggest political issue that you've found, and you're not even inviting anybody else. All of these questions being raised by the opposition, of course, at the same time. They also, one of their constituents, the DMK, says, Ram, in any case, is mythical, and you're replacing history with mythology. Please respond.
Let me first begin with the DMK. That's a completely condemnable comment. It hurts the sentiments of thousands of Hindus, not just in India, but across the world. The DMK leader is entitled not to believe in God, but he does not have to denounce the belief of billions of others. Now coming to the so-called political charge on the BJP. From the late 80s through the 90s, through the decade of the 2000s, and finally, till the judgment came in the decade of 2017-18, we need to bear in mind that for the BJP, the Ram Temple was never a political issue. हम हमेशा कहते थे ये आस्था का विषय है, या तो बातचीत के माध्यम से हो या कोर्ट के फैसले से. So we were consistent, either a court decision or a judgment, or it can be through negotiated settlement among the parties. No one was interested. Everyone prolonged it. The Congress party went out of its way to even say it's a political issue. The Supreme Court should not hear it. This is not a political issue. Ayodhya is the birthplace of Lord Ram. This is as important a place when we worship Lord Ram as Mecca would be to Islam, or the Vatican to Roman Catholics. So to deny the existence of Ram, as the Congress party did in its affidavit that you referred to deny the fact that a temple should be there, a historical wrong that had been committed by destroying the temple at what was believed to be the birthplace of Lord Ram, when that is finally happening, it's unfortunate that the political parties are converting it into a political issue. It isn't. Not one of them has come out and said it's a matter of faith. We feel proud of the fact, or happy of the fact, that finally a temple is coming up in Ayodhya for Lord Ram. Not one of them says that we would like to go there and pray. Not one of them would say that we denounce that we called Ram a mythical figure, or that the affidavit put out by the Congress party was incorrect. What they say is that the Prime Minister, why is he going? He is the Prime Minister. Narendra Modi ji is the Prime Minister not because the opposition elected him to be Prime Minister, but the people of India have. And if he is going there on the 22nd for the inauguration, or when the idol is put there, what is wrong with that? It's something to be welcomed. Join it, praise it, instead of trying to politicize it.
Well, let me ask Lokesh Jindal. Lokesh Jindal, अगर बीजेपी का कुछ लेना देना ही नहीं था, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी क्यों पूछती थी मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे, तारीख नहीं बताएंगे? आप ही टॉन्ट मारते थे ना बीजेपी को, आपकी ही पार्टी करती थी. एंड टुडे राम नाम की मची है लूट. मिस्टर कमलनाथ सेज, ओ बीजेपी का टेंपल थोड़ी है हम सबका, When you called him a Ram mythological figure, that there was nothing that was the truth, you said that was the affidavit of the UPA government in the Supreme Court. Today, not one leader of the Congress party has come out and condemned the DMK's statement on Sanatan Dharma or the fact that they did call Ram once again a mythological figure. So, I want to just ask you, why are you so jealous कि प्रधानमंत्री जा रहे हैं? आपके हिसाब से तो ये तारीख नहीं बता रहे थे, अब तारीख भी बता रहे हैं, समय भी बता रहे हैं, आपको चलना है, साथ चलिए.
Well, नाविका जी, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल भगवान राम सबके हैं, सबके दिल में बसते हैं, सबके जब से हमारे समाज, when the entire society has been formed, Lord Ram belongs to all. शबरी के भी है, खेवट के भी है, सबके हैं भगवान राम, किसी एक समुदाय के नहीं. And right now, Mr. Kohli, I was surprised. Mr. Kohli said it's not a political issue. I mean, sir, I hope you have read the Supreme Court judgment 2019, whereby the Supreme Court has stated that the desecration, demolition of Babri Masjid was illegal, contravention to Places of Worship Act 1991, and it also highlighted that secularism, it upholds the very basic constitutional ethos. It again highlighted SR Bombay case. So when will BJP come out with a statement and condemn the demolition of Babri Masjid? So rather than asking the opposition, first of all, it's the BJP which must answer, why did it trample over the secular character of Indian state? Why did it trample over the very constitutional ethos which forms the bedrock of Indian state? Secondly, there is a false narrative that Congress has been against construction of Ram Temple. No, not at all, never.
Oh.
Congress was against this trampling over of the secular character of Indian state.
Oh.
For BJP,
is that why senior leader of the
politicization-
Congress party, Mr. Kapil Sibal, in 2019, representing one of the litigants in this case, actually said that the case should not be heard before the elections, otherwise it will affect the elections?
Yes,
So-
yes, because for BJP,
You were supporting
religion
Ram.
No, because BJP has been politicizing religion.
Oh,
Ram
और आप
is
जब
being
पूछते थे
politicized for the sake
तारीख
of
नहीं
votes.
बताएंगे तो politicization नहीं था.
No, Navika, Bhagwan Ram, he left politics for welfare of humanity. He left his kingdom. He didn't choose to be the king. But BJP, it is the other way around. They want Bhagwan Ram to be used so that they can be the king. So they are pseudo Ram Bhakt. In fact, if they would have understood the very ethos, the very meaning of Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram, Ramcharitamanas, their deeds and their actions would be different from what they do and what they perform now.
भैया आरजेडी के लीडर्स ने जो कहा है रामचरितमानस पे, वो पहले सुन लीजिए. आपके बड़े respected coalition partners hain. Please hear what Swami Prasad Maurya has to say and then sing the praises of Ram, because what your own coalition partners have said about the Ramcharitmanas, maybe you've stopped reading newspapers because every day you'll have to comment on something or the other. But Nalin Kohli responding to you.
So, Navika ji, kuch log Hindu hai, kuch log chunavi Hindu hai. And I think Lokesh ji is carrying that tradition of the Congress party well. When elections come, his glorious leader suddenly visits temples. And I must thank Lokesh ji for a very important comment today. In the name of the secular character of India, he has actually said that the Babri Masjid should have existed. What emanates from his statement is that the temple shouldn't have been there. The Babri Masjid should have been there. That's the crux of it. तो भगवान राम सबके हैं, लेकिन मंदिर वहां नहीं बनना चाहिए था. That is the crux of what Lokesh ji has said. आपने आज तक ये नहीं कहा कि मंदिर वहीं बनना चाहिए था, जल्दी बनना चाहिए था. I can say hundreds of millions of Indians have contributed to the temple of Lord Ram. But the Congress party has stood like a rock, preventing the temple of Lord Ram. Secondly, the secular ethos of India does not mean that Hindus are to become second-class citizens in their country. The ethos of India is Article 14, equality for all Indians, no discrimination between Indians. It does not mean that you make a Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Buddhist, Parsi, Jew unequal to each other. That is the secular ethos of India. And what the Congress party, through its politics from 1967 onwards, when Indira Ji came into power, started misusing and creating a concept of vote bank politics, creating a fear psychosis among the Muslim community and treating them as a preferential vote bank. To the extent that the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, said that the first right of all resources belongs to Muslims. Not that the first right of resources belongs to poor people, whether they are Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Parsis or Jews. So the Congress party...
I would like to correct you. I would like to correct you.
That is political. The BJP has exposed that narrative.
Well, I'm
So
coming
the
back to
Supreme
you.
Court in its judgment, ma'am, just allow me to give one statement. So the Supreme Court in its judgment clearly stated that presence of an underlying structure beneath existing structure does not denote that the regime was unfriendly. The very narrative that you put forth that the medieval rulers, they were unfriendly, hostile to Hindu religion, the very narrative of pitting Hindus against Muslims and symbolizing this hatred via religious institutions is something that we object and we condemn.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean, Lokesh Jindal. Were the medieval rulers, you stop calling, you are not calling them the Mughals, you are not calling them anything, but you're saying the medieval rulers were not against those. They were just destroying temples just like that, Ishkaran Bhandari.
Just a national pastime in the nature of this. Muhammad Ghori, Nadir Shah,
it's a very serious debate. Can I make my point now without interruption? It's a very important point, Navika ji. Let us start by Somnath Mandir. Time and again destroyed by medieval rulers who were very kind. Let's talk about Jizya. Time and again imposed by medieval rulers who were very kind. Let us talk about what the naked eye can see even today in Gyan Vapi. We can see the Farman and we can see what the kind medieval ruler Aurangzeb did. Let us talk about what Khilji said about how he butchered and killed Brahmins and Hindus. Why we have to go into all these kindness of medieval rulers? It is only our ancestors, Navika ji, yours and mine. I do not know about other people here, whose ancestors fought and spilled their blood. That is why we remain the oldest continuous living civilization, quite different from what happened in Middle East or Europe. Could be very different cultures they are today than what they were 2000 or 2500 years ago. So let us first appreciate what our ancestors did, even though there are people today, even today, trying to whitewash what these medieval kind-hearted people were doing. Now, if we can come back to the debate, of course, Congress is having a problem with the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, going to Ram Mandir because the founder of the dynasty, Nehru and Gandhi dynasty, Mr. Nehru had very different views on Somnath Mandir. When K.M. Munshi, his cabinet minister, risking his career, was trying to rebuild Somnath Mandir, Mr. Nehru said, I do not like your trying to restore Somnath. It is Hindu revivalism, a culture, a Sanskriti, a religion crushed brutally by the medieval kindness and by Britishers who had no interest in it, was trying to find its expression in an independent India where we had already had Muslims separating on the ground that they cannot coexist, and so they needed to have Pakistan. And that time when you're trying to restore Somnath Mandir, which Sardar Patel wanted, which the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad wanted, which Mr. K.M. Munshi was doing, he called it Hindu revivalism. And that great cabinet minister answered it by saying, yesterday you referred to it as Hindu revivalism. Let me assure you that the collective subconscious of India today is happier with the scheme of reconstruction of Somnath than with many other things you are doing. Same argument we heard in 15, 16, 17, make a hospital, make a school. The same argument was answered by that cabinet minister, who of course did not remain cabinet minister for too long after that. Then when President Rajendra Prasad was wanting to go there, the Prime Minister expressed his disapproval, saying that personally I think this is no time to lay stress on large scale building operations at Somnath. This could have been done gradually and more effectively later. What do we see Mr. Kapil Sibal arguing in court? Do it after 2019. Let us do it gradually. Let us do it later. What do we see happening when Hindu Code Bill comes in and Muslim personal law remains? Let us do it later. So basically, let us keep doing it later,
Navika,
which is effectively let's do it never, because the later will never come. So these are the historic. 1 second, don't interrupt. This is a serious topic.
You don't know
and
anything about history.
It's a serious topic and it's all
it's
documented.
Better that you restrict yourself to your
Navika
analysis.
ji, we cannot have it this way. Let me finish my point, because these are all documented facts. Let me finish my point.
Where are you quoting
Lokesh,
these facts?
you cannot interrupt. You cannot change history. You cannot change.
What do you know about history?
Well, if this,
you know nothing.
If this history is not known to you, Lokesh Jindal, then I'll give you some time to read up while I get in Mr. Vivek Srivastava.
Yes, just read it.
Yes,
I missed this last point. Just one last point.
Okay.
One last point. Just 10 seconds. And finally, to end it, I am very happy that the Prime Minister is going there, and if Congress wants to support Ram Mandir, there are still 2 cases. They don't have to travel outside UP. Gyanvapi case and Krishan Janambhoomi case. Please let them take a stand and say they support the Hindu side. End the debate. They will not take it. They will bring the places of worship back.
They haven't taken a stand on Ram being a mythological character as stated by the DMK. They haven't taken a stand on Sanatan Dharma, but they oppose the Hindu credentials and the politicization by the BJP. But let me get in Mr. Vivek Srivastava. Mr. Vivek Srivastava, एक simple riddle आप समझा दीजिए. 1990 में the Prime Minister Narendra Modi was then the organizer of the Rath Yatra. In 1990, do you think he knew that for the 3rd time he would be fighting an election for the Prime Minister's post in 2024, which is why he tried and created a sequence of events which led to the Pran Pratishtha happening in January of 2024? आप मुझे ये बता दीजिए, because he's been part of the Ram Mandir movement since 1990.
Right. First of all, it's very difficult to understand the founding fathers of this country by the BJP and by lawyers like Ishkaran Bhandari. They won't understand. Because they don't understand that it is not the job of the government to build mosques or temples or churches. That is for the people to build for their own beliefs. Please let me speak. Let me speak now. See, I did not disturb you. Let me speak. The government's job is to build IITs, the IIMs, the AIMS, the ISRO, research, educational institution for the people, the public sector undertakings, infrastructure, grow the economy, provide healthcare. That is the job of the government. But since 2014, it seems that the job of the government has changed. And the job of the government is somehow whosoever makes more temple, more patriotic, and that is what we need to glorify, and I do not stand by that. So that is why I am saying first we need to understand what Nehru was, what his vision was, and where this particular government does not have a vision. They are simply trying to divide the society. I mean, the Prime Minister of India needs to understand that even if the verdict of the court came in favor of the temple, it was, and the Muslims accepted it very happily. They said, fine, we accept what the court said. However, why don't you leave the work of the Dharam Gurus to Dharam Gurus? You may be a Hindu. You have a full right
then let me inform you and let me get in Suhail said. No, 1 minute. 1 minute, Ishkaran Bhandari. 1 minute. I'm coming back to you. Let me get in Suhail said.
He took me by name, so I just need to put one phone.
I will come to you. But Suhail said, when Vivek Srivastava raises the issue that it is the job of the government to build hospitals, schools, infrastructure, not to build temples. I think it's common knowledge that it is the Ram Mandir Trust that is making the temple. It is the donations of the people of India which is being used to make the temple. Now, are they overlooking this fact? Do they not know? Is this not publicly declared? Or is it just their idea of trying to create a controversy by calling it public money, government money given by the Prime Minister to build the temple for Ram?
So there are 3 or 4 points here. Number one, I do agree with Vivek Srivastava on one thing. For far too long, we have indulged in gross abuse of the founding fathers, whoever they were and whoever they are. It's not necessary to win a current argument by going back into the past and belittling people who were part of the freedom movement. That's my view. Second, as you rightly said, the business of the BJP has never been hidden. It is not a party that is mired in hypocrisy. They have very clearly stated in their public utterances and privately to people who are in the know that they are committed to the Ram Mandir. That doesn't mean that they're committed to the government funding the Ram Mandir. There are two different things. They have not hidden it at all. And you're right. You go back 43 years. To 1990. Sorry, you go back to 1990, and you've seen that there has been no hypocrisy. The third, it is not about politics alone, Navika. The average Indian's relationship with God is transactional. आप मंदिर जाओगे, आपने क्या मन्नत ली है, और फिर आप वापस जाओगे. That is part of our tradition. It's part of our DNA. To therefore belittle people and say that you are deprived or you should be deprived of worshipping Lord Ram, to my mind, is the most atrocious. It is hypocritical, it is insensitive, and it actually compounds the liberties that are assigned to me. But the fourth is the most important. There's a deep relationship between remembering Ram and the Election Commission announcing their election dates. To my mind, the tragedy is not about the BJP. The tragedy that is unfolding is the tragedy which is surrounding all these other political parties which claimed to be secular but have now realized that the majority cannot be ignored and therefore will also remember Lord Ram and say that he also belongs to us. The BJP has never said, to my mind, I may be wrong, and Vivek, my friend, can correct me if I am, the BJP has never said that Ram only belongs to the Bharatiya Janata Party. They said Ram belongs to Hindus who are part of India. The Congress says no, it doesn't belong to the BJP. पर BJP ने तो पहले कहा ही नहीं, बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना. उन्होंने तो कभी नहीं कहा कि राम हमारे हैं. उन्होंने कहा है राम हर हिंदू के हैं, राम हर भारतीय के हैं, अगर भारतीय चाहे. So the hypocrisy is also laced with illogicality. My view is that religion is a private issue. Temples were created, mosques were created, not only to advance the cause of religion, but also to foster relationships within communities. No harm. We have belittled our festivals. The jokers who run governments in certain states, I don't want to name them, they will talk about stubble burning in a nonchalant, abrasive manner, and then they will tell people, nahi, aap patake nahi jalao, aap ye nahi karo, aap wo nahi karo. We have become a state where everyone is being belittled for his or her private or public beliefs. So my view is very simple, and I will end, because I don't want to take more time in my opening remarks. The BJP has never been hypocritical about its agenda qua Ram. The government has not been or is not funding the building of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. The Congress and other parties, I'm not only saying about the Congress, there were many parties which, in order to wear the secular Band Gala, were actually squeezing the gala of those who believed in Lord Ram. That is changing because the elections are on the anvil. So therefore, let's not lace and pass the buck of hypocrisy onto the BJP. Whether you like them or not, they have been completely like bulls in a china shop saying, मंदिर तो बन के ही रहेगा, आपने जो करना आप कर लो. अब आप बोल रहे हो नहीं, मंदिर आपका नहीं है, मेरा भी है, पर आपने तो पहले ऑब्जेक्ट किया था, तो आप किस बूते पे बोल सकते हो? This is called the Meesna quotient, which Navika, as a Punjabi, you will understand.
Well, let me get in Danish Qureshi. Danish Qureshi, बहुत से लोग हैं इस देश में जिन्होंने कहा था कि जय श्री राम का नारा जो है वो एक युद्ध की पुकार है, युद्ध का आह्वान है. It's a war cry. Today the same people want their own right to actually go and say Jai Shri Ram in Ayodhya when the Pran Pratishtha actually happens. किस मुंह से जाएंगे? जय श्री राम तो उनको बैटल क्राई लगती थी, वॉर क्राई लगती थी. तो दानिश कुरैशी, ये आज क्योंकि चुनाव हो रहे हैं तो ये सारे चुनावी हिंदू क्यों आ गए, क्यों जाग गए?
I want to know one thing from Navika, from the opposition, जो कि अपने आप को सेक्युलर होने का दम भरता है. I want to know, my question is that कि अगर राम सबके हैं तो फिर देश के मुसलमान किसके थे, इसका भी एक्सप्लेनेशन दे देते तो ज्यादा बेटर रहता. सेकेंड थिंग, दूसरे नंबर की बात, अब प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ अ स्टेट with the secular constitution, why they want to the part of that religious program, I didn't get that. दूसरे नंबर की बात, क्या मोदी जी अपने आप को 1990 के दशक में जो इतनी बड़ी घटना घटी देश में, क्या उसके लिए अपने आप को माफ कर पाएंगे? क्या वो एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं इस चीजों को कि हाँ, जो उन्होंने उस दौर में जो लोग मारे गए पूरे देश में, उनको किस तरह से मतलब वो फेस कर पाएंगे? तो आई थिंक देयर आर सम थिंग्स in the name of politics. BJP has tried to divide in the 90s between two communities, Muslims and Hindus, in the name of a political program which is known as Babri Masjid.
Respond. Nalin Kohli, you raised your hand. Please respond before I get in Lokesh Jindal.
2-3 things. It's very convenient for Danish Bhai to turn around and say, देश के मुसलमानों का क्या होगा? देश के मुसलमान, हिंदू, सिख, बौद्ध सब जो है बराबर के नागरिक हैं इस देश में. कोई स्पेशल नहीं है दानिश भाई. मुझे बताइए कि आप मानते हैं कि अच्छा हुआ कि बाबरी मस्जिद बनी और वहां जो 1947 से या 1950 से पूजा की जा रही है, वो आपके लिए मस्जिद थी या ढांचा थी? कहां पर मुस्लिम समाज आगे आया कि आइए हम लोग बैठ के
पूजा की जा रही है? हाउ पूजा की जा रही है भाई? हाउ पूजा की जा रही है?
वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड.
पूजा की जा रही है, बताइए आप. व्हाट वाज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कहा था? इश्करन जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कहा था?
मुस्लिम Can a Muslim anywhere in the world who believes in Allah and believes in the Prophet and the message of the Quran believe that in Mecca something should not happen? I mean, what are you talking, Danish bhai? For your politics, you are from the party that said, अरे हिंदुस्तान की पुलिस 15 मिनट के लिए बैठ जाओ, फिर हम बताएंगे हम क्या है. ये तो आपका हिंदुस्तान का प्रेम है. अरे हिंदुस्तान की पुलिस 15 मिनट बैठ जाइए, फिर हम बताएंगे. ये तो आपका प्रेम है हिंदुस्तान के लिए. हिंदुस्तान की पुलिस बैठिए तो सही, फिर हम बताएंगे. क्या बात कर रहे हैं आप? बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं, संविधान हमें सुनाते हैं दानिश भाई, सांप्रदायिक काम करते हैं आप. ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता है.
Supreme Court has stated in that.
Well, let me get Lokesh Jindal. Lokesh Jindal, अब आप दानिश कुरैशी जी को जवाब दीजिए कि आप सेक्युलर हैं कि नहीं, क्योंकि आज आप राम राम कर रहे हैं. वैसे आप कहते हैं मुसलमानों का पहला हक है देश के संसाधनों पर, तो आप क्या हैं? पहले दानिश कुरैशी is raising a question on your secular credentials.
Navika ji, the term positive discrimination is oftenly misunderstood by the opposition. I think they do it deliberately to politicize it. It's very important that when Congress said that the Muslims, they have the first right over resources, they aim at giving them certain safeguards to the minorities. Tell me one thing, if we are giving an enabling mechanisms to those who are socially marginalized or who are socially in population demographic minority, what's harm in that? There is no threat to the Hindus. And secondly, when you're talking about the entire issue of Ram Temple, there is no opposition to Ram Temple. We are all Hindus. We all believe in Lord Ram. However, the manner in which politicization is taking place. Now, please tell me, if there is an inauguration, if there is an inauguration that is to be done for the Ram Temple, let a Paramhansa Yogi or let a priest of a high temple, Shankaracharya, or some Mahant come and inaugurate the temple. What has a politician got to do with inaugurating a Ram Temple? Now, whether it is ISRO, whether it is Ram Temple, we only see one person coming and inaugurating it. Now, where is Lal Krishna Advani?
What a facile argument is that? What a facile argument. Every manifesto of the BJP has had building of the Ram Temple. They had a full movement of the Ram Temple, but they cannot go to inaugurate it. Coming to you, Sohail Seth, Ishkaran Bhandari has raised his hand. After that,
Navika,
coming to you. Yes, Ishkaran.
Navika ji, two short points. Unfortunately, people don't read history, or people get defensive when we quote the first prime minister or the first president. All democratic nations discuss what the earlier people in power did. That's a part of history. That's a part of democracy. Even Somnath Mandir, the president went. The prime minister, people would have gladly wanted him to come, but the prime minister didn't want to go. He wanted to stop the president from going. So any seminal, historic inauguration of a mandir, people would be very happy Mr. Nehru had gone there. He chose not to go there. This prime minister chooses to go there. That is the simple fact which they want to deny. And secondly, it's very easy to say we were with Ram Mandir, while throughout the time you were in power, you filed affidavit saying Ram Kalpanik hai, where Mr. Manishankar Iyer did mockery, which I don't know, which I should repeat also. 10,000 rooms were there. Which room was Lord Ram born? Have you forgotten that? Or where your senior ministers were arguing in court for 2019 to matter to be postponed after that. So you opposed it tooth and nail with your entire ecosystem. Now that you failed, you want to oppose the prime minister going there, and you still have a chance. Last point, you still have a chance. One second, just last line I will say, and then you come. Last line I will say, then you can come in. Last line I will say, then you can come in. Navika ji, let me just have my last line, and then he can come in, because they will be defensive. आपको आज भी निमंत्रण दे रहा हूं, आज भी आप सपोर्ट कर दीजिए हिंदू कॉज को काशी विश्वनाथ में, कृष्ण जन्मभूमि में, नहीं तो 5-10 साल बाद यही डिबेट हो रही होगी कि उस समय का प्रधानमंत्री वहां पे क्यों जा रहा है, जबकि आपने सपोर्ट किया था। जबकि आपने सपोर्ट किया था। आप कृष्ण जन्मभूमि को और काशी विश्वनाथ में सपोर्ट करते हैं। सिंपल क्वेश्चन।
सपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे, सपोर्ट बिल्कुल नहीं करेंगे, सवाल उठाएंगे। They will keep questioning, but when it comes to the inauguration, when it comes to the prime minister going there, then there is a feeling of being left out. Isn't that the fact with the Congress party? Suhail said.
I want to make 2 or 3 points based on what Lokesh said. Discrimination and help by any government, no matter of which political lineage, to people who are deprived or are marginalized because of caste, creed, not religion necessarily, that's fine. But the division based on religion is reprehensible. How many people from Danish ji's ilk actually created a storm when the Shah Bano judgment was reversed in Parliament? You actually mocked the Supreme Court of India at that point in time. There is a personal law operating today for Muslims. I have no issues with that, but there is a personal law. So please don't play victim when you don't need to. A. B. You cannot make the majority feel guilty because they are the majority. They were born Hindus. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Every day are you going to make them feel guilty? Is being Hindu equal to being communal? No, it's not. For the same reason, by being Muslim is not being communal. So the argument is facetious. I want to end with just one thing. Yes, someone raised the point, why should the Prime Minister go? The Prime Minister is also going because he is a politician. He is not an NGO head. He's not running an activist party. He is a politician.
But he's been invited. But he's been invited by the Ram Janmabhoomi Trust. He's been invited. Yeah, he's been invited, so he's going. So Vivek Srivastava, where is the pain in that?
Navika, I want to know that Mr. Modi is going to join the next program like Babri Masjid. Any more?
Babri Masjid kahan?
What is next program? You know, you're making stupid comments. What is next program like Babri Masjid? What do you even mean? The Babri Masjid demolition, in the wake of that demolition, there was Mulayam Singh Yadav, your secular, your secular epitome, Mulayam Singh Yadav, who was the epitome of secularism, according to Owaisi, was the chief minister. You have no clue. Your mind is riddled with communalism. You cannot take part in a logical debate. Mr.
Your
Mr.
problem
Danish,
is that
you
that
unfortunately
the chief
cannot
of the
infuse
state,
logic into this debate
Well,
because you're so
well, ladies and gentlemen, in a country where the majority of the population is Hindu, in a country where the majority of the population's biggest festival, the most important festival, happens to be Deepavali, in a country where Deepavali is celebrated because Ram actually came home from his vanvas, from his exile. In that country, we are still questioning the existence of Lord Ram. We are saying he's a mythical figure. We are saying that Sanatan Dharma is actually like HIV or dengue or whatever else. It's like a disease. But we still think that it is okay to say this because there is a coalition which must stand against everything that the BJP stands for, which is the party in power. But when it comes to the inauguration, to the Pran Pratishtha, suddenly there is insecurity. Oh my God, is this going to help them in the elections? And then the scramble for Lord Ram begins. Every party trying to get one little fraction only because it is votes that they're thinking. So who's politicizing Ram? Who's politicizing the Ram Mandir? And who's politicizing the Pran Pratishtha expected to be held now on the 22nd of January? It's a question you, the viewer, will have to think about and judge. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.